Satan is after your children.
Whoopi Goldberg, who raised a few eyebrows using the Bible to support the idea of kids getting gender change surgeries. Take a look.
But my God, this is a party that says we believe in parents' rights. You're telling me that as a parent, I'm not smart enough to decide if my child and I need to have gender affirming. Our doctors are not involved. What is going? So I can't decide what my kid reads. I can't decide for my child what my child says is going on. You're telling me your beliefs, and they keep saying it, and I keep saying, what Bible are you reading? Because God was really clear.
Very clear.
God was clear about what, Whoopi? And what Bible are you reading? How low can these people get? When someone uses the Bible to justify destroying children's sexuality, you know that things have gone way, way out of hand in America. Indeed, Satan is after young children, and he's using people in government, school, and the media to brainwash kids.
Another blaring example, drag queen story time. It's happening in Canada and America, where some public schools and libraries invite drag queens, some dressed like horned demons, to read to young children.
And it's a social deconstructionist agenda. They're using children, little 5-year-olds, to accomplish this. And parents are waking up and saying no.
It is time for parents to stand up and protect these young minds before it's too late. And here's the reason. Whoever you allow to speak into your life has the power to positively or negatively influence your life. Thankfully, some parents like this brave mom in the United Kingdom are fighting back.
This mother took her child out of school because she said it pushed an aggressively gay-friendly agenda. For her, it's a matter of faith.
It's not anything like race or age.
People are not born gay?
I don't believe they are. If you show me a gay gene, just like if you show me any genes such as like race or something indicative that is biological, I do personally believe that there is a biological drive, but because it's not something that you can determine by science to say that somebody is gay, you cannot say, well, somebody is born gay. It's a choice.
Izzy, you explained in that report there, but can we just clarify, is it the topic itself or the age that it's being taught?
The topic itself. I don't personally believe that this is a topic that needs to be taught in school. Everything has a purpose. School's purpose is to academically teach our children, and it's got nothing to do with sexual lifestyles or desires or relationships.
But by next year, all children will be learning about relationships and families, not necessarily sex education, but relationships and families. Aren't same-sex relationships part of that conversation? Families come in all shapes and sizes.
No, families don't come in all shapes and sizes. We decide what happens in our families, and that's the thing. Some people might say, well, this is right for me. Some people disagree with it. Don't think you should teach everything to a child just because people think it's right for them. I don't believe that there is such a thing as two mums or two dads. There isn't. Biologically, there isn't.
To Christian parents and grandparents, we can no longer stand by and watch as ungodly people impose their demonic ideologies on our children. We applaud this mother for standing up for righteousness and fighting for and defending her child. The family, church, and school are the three central institutions shaping children's views about spirituality, life, and culture. Imagine if your child is bombarded with perverted sex education from a baby to an adult. No matter how good of a parent you are, it will make your parenting job very challenging. That's why parents must ground their kids in biblical truth while fighting to end the indoctrination of their kids at school. Unfortunately, in today's day and age, you can't do one and leave the other. The next best option is homeschooling your kids or taking them to Bible-based Christian schools.
There's some of these things that can't coexist. They're logically inconsistent with one another, but the only thing that holds them together is critical theory and cultural Marxism. That's it. That's the only thing that holds them together. Beyond that, some of the acronyms are mutually exclusive and almost at war with one another. But they're part of the same critical social justice movement. They're part of the same application of critical theory, part of the same application of cultural Marxism, and therefore they have the same goals, and that keeps them bonded together. Right now, we're seeing it expanded and expressed in our schools through a number of things, but perhaps most covertly through what's called SEL, or social emotional learning. And you may have heard of SEL, you may have heard of this whole social emotional learning push within the government education system. And it is the Trojan horse that right now is advancing critical theory, cultural Marxism, and specifically sexual identity Marxism among kids at every level, K through 12.
We strongly believe and advise that teaching kids biblical values must start at home. The Word of God commands parents in Proverbs 22, verse 6, to train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Therefore, teaching kids about traditional family and biblical values, including sexuality, begins at home. Furthermore, to protect children from woke activists, parents must actively participate in their children's learning, attend school board meetings, and vote for school boards that make policies that affect their children's education. This boy was kicked out of school. What was his offense?
I was told that people were complaining about the words on my shirt, that my shirt was making some students feel unsafe. Yes, words on a shirt made people feel unsafe. They told me that I wasn't in trouble, but it sure felt like I was. I was told that I would need to remove my shirt before I could return to class. When I nicely told them that I didn't want to do that, they called my father. Thankfully, my dad supported my decisions and came to pick me up. What did my shirt say? 5 simple words. There are only 2 genders. Nothing harmful, nothing threatening, just a statement I believe to be a fact. I have been told that my shirt was targeting a protected class. Who is this protected class? Are their feelings more important than my rights? I don't complain when I see pride flags and diversity posters hung throughout the school. Do you know why? Because others have a right to their beliefs just as I do. Not one person, staff, or student told me that they were bothered by what I was wearing. Actually, just the opposite. Several kids told me that they supported my actions and that they wanted one too. I was told that the shirt was a disruption to learning. No one got up and stormed out of class. No one burst into tears. I'm sure I would have noticed if they had. I experience disruptions to my learning every day. Kids acting out in class are a disruption, yet nothing is done. Why do the rules apply to one yet not another? I feel like these adults were telling me that it wasn't okay for me to have an opposing view. Their arguments were weak, in my opinion. I didn't go to school that day to hurt feelings or cause trouble. I have learned a lot from this experience. I learned that a lot of other students share my view. I learned that adults don't always do the right thing or make the right decisions. I know that I have a right to wear a shirt with those 5 words. Even at 12 years old, I have my own political opinions, and I have a right to express those opinions. Even at school, this right is called the First Amendment to the Constitution. My hope in being here tonight is to bring the school committee's attention to this issue. I hope that you will speak up for the rest of us so we can express ourselves without being pulled out of class. Next time, it may not only be me. There might be more students that decide to speak out. Thank you for your time and good night.
We appreciate this young boy for speaking up and fighting for his rights. We also commend his supportive parents. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. They help get biblical truth to those in darkness. God bless you. America is evolving quickly, and it is frightening to imagine what the future holds for young children in America who are being trained at a young age to accept a lifestyle that the Bible clearly calls sin. Please pay close attention to what this individual says to these little kids.
Today, I wanted to introduce you to a new friend in our class. Well, this, Huckleberries, is my friend Nash. It's their first day in our class. They're just looking around at all of you, and they're so curious to know who you all are.
Today was fun. It was really interesting though, knowing going in, being like, I don't know what questions kiddos are gonna have or what they're gonna say, which is both like nerve-wracking, but also kind of exciting. It's that place of not knowing as a teacher and just being okay with that.
And the friend likes to ask the question, are you a boy or a girl? And Nash answers, I'm just a kid.
But kids can be boys or...
They can be boys or girls.
Or
yeah.
Or maybe non-binary.
Yeah.
It was just like non-binary, yeah. That's just something that we know. And this is something, I mean, it's like, they're 4 and 5 years old, and they just didn't make a big deal out of being a boy or a girl.
And I think it was a huge testament to how much we've been talking about it in the classroom that you never mentioned the term non-binary. It was a child who brought that up because it's constantly in conversation.
Yeah, just like me. So Nash, just like me, is non-binary. So they aren't sure if they're a boy or a girl. So when people ask them, are you a boy or a girl? Right now they just feel like saying, I'm a kid. They're figuring it out.
Why does he like stars?
They like stars.
They like stars.
Yeah.
America is in big trouble. We must pray fervently for our children and our nation. The devil is on a rampage, but through prayer, teaching kids God's holy word, and fighting back against the transgender ideology, God's people will triumph over the enemy. A few decades ago, no one would have believed that there would be a day in America when kids would be taught in school there are more than 2 genders and be allowed to go through irreversible surgeries. Wake up, America! Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Isaiah 5, verse 20.
Our problem is not the teachers, the educators, the administrators. This is a battle in the heavenlies.
He says Satan is going after their most vulnerable, the children.
And the little girl came home in tears because the teacher had told her, since she was playing with some toys in the class that were deemed to be masculine in nature, that she was likely a boy in a girl's body. The mother went to the school the very next day, and instead of having any sort of tolerance or support or understanding, she was actually called names. She was told that she was a homophobe, that she was a bigot.
We need to think about sex from a biblical perspective, not just from an anti-cultural perspective. Our approach to human sexuality can't be limited to they do this, therefore we don't do it, or they do this, therefore we do that. We have to have something more significant. God also sets the parameters for sex. God sets the male-female parameter for sex. And God sets the marriage parameter for sex. We see this elsewhere as well, 1 Thessalonians 4:3. For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality. Earlier in this same book, in chapter 6 of 1 Corinthians, Paul deals with this issue beginning in verse 12. All things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. The body is not meant for sexual immorality, not meant for, not made for, not created for, not designed for, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. And God raised the Lord and will also raise us up by his power. Do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ? Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you are bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. And more specifically, glorify God in your sex life.
Fellow believers in Jesus Christ, we're fighting spiritual warfare. Let's pick up our armor and fight, because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10, verse 4.